This is probably one of the more difficult streams that Duke and I have had to do, but we're here to do it. So let's get it out the way. So this is the match review of the game that took place yesterday at the Deutsch Bank Park in Frankfurt. Eintracht Frankfurt 1, West Ham United 0, aggregate scoreline 3-1. Obviously, therefore, means that our dreams quite literally have faded and died. We're quite used to that over the years. Little bit of housekeeping before we get into the discussions of what happened yesterday. Please don't forget to like, comment on, and share the stream to your social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. As always, guys, we thank you very much indeed for your support. Now, Duke, I was in a pub yesterday in Frankfurt, the Fox and Hound. It was absolutely plastered with West Ham. There was flags all over the place, lots of singing, lots of jollity, until about the 19th minute when it all went south. What was your perspective of things?
I had a visitor here at the pub.
Yes.
I need to say something quickly. I do apologise. I walked out of the pub just after full time, and I did leave him without saying goodbye. So I want to apologise to your brother, Ben. He rocked up. We watched the game together, but I did just walk out and leave. I was like, no.
I think he knows where you mate. Don't worry about it.
No. Shit, mate. I'm just gonna. Hi. I'll do the comments.
I was going to say, you will have to do the comments because obviously I'm on my phone.
Lucas.
Hello, mate.
It's morning. Behave yourself. Well, it's afternoon. Behave yourself.
5.1 here.
Hey.
Hello, sweetheart.
Nice to hear from you, and I hope you're safe. Becca got a nice hug, apparently, from your brother. Poor bastard. This is it, isn't it? This is
so near yet so far, isn't it?
Well,
it's the hope that kills you. That's what they say, and it's true.
I mean, listen, yes, it was a mistake by Cresswell.
Yep.
Can't argue with that. In fact,
no.
Listen, it's the second time he's done it. I can guarantee you he's going to have been in that changing room after the sending off, crying, beating himself up. I have no doubt that, you know, what he's done, he feels like shit. There's no two ways about it. And, you know, it's... But I'm going to say something here, and I know there are a couple of people that agree with me because one of them was called out for being a racist on Twitter.
Oh, yes. Oh, I saw this.
Now, Becca from Hammer's Chat put on her Twitter feed that she blamed Zuma for being so far forward, and someone jumped back. Oh, you're blaming the black guy. Here we fucking go. So I jumped on and I said, well, hold your horses. Our two centre-backs were in line with our two defensive midfielders on the halfway line.
Yep.
Okay. They pushed... they were quite clearly man-marking a player. Okay? Quite clearly they were man-marking because Zuma was... I think Zuma was practically... up the arsehole of the guy that he was marking on the halfway line. There was no need for Kurt Zuma or Craig Dawson to be on the halfway line at that point. There really wasn't. There was no danger. There was no yes, Cresswell shouldn't have laid his hands on him. Cresswell should have been in a better defensive position. But Cresswell shouldn't have been playing centre-back at that moment in time. And not just centre-back. He was playing right-sided centre-back. He had to come over so far to cover. He had to come over from left-back, past left centre-back, to right-sided centre-back to be able to make that defensive faux pas, shall we say, the fuck up.
You agree it was a red card? Because I know, obviously, in the game, the first leg against Lyon, he got sent off there, and we were...
Yeah, it was more central, Rob, wasn't he, this time? You know, the other one, he was running away from goal. The other one was a bit... Listen, don't get me wrong. The geezer threw himself to the floor like he'd been shot, but also he had his hands all over Cresswell as well.
Hmm.
What I will say is I will take my hat off to Declan Rice at the full-time whistle in the tunnel. Please tell me you've seen that video on Twitter.
No.
Confronts the
No,
referee.
I haven't. I'll be perfectly honest with you, mate. I had a few jars last night. A lot of it is quite hazy. A lot of the time, your best nights aren't they?
They are indeed. Well, Declan Rice followed the referee down the tunnel, called the referee, and I quote, a fucking joke. You've been at it all night. It wouldn't surprise me if you've been fucking paid. You're fucking corrupt. And off he went to the changing room.
Yeah. What, you hear him say those words?
You hear him say those words, mate. Hang on.
Send it to me. I'll look at it later. That's.
So,
I bet there's a repercussion to that. I bet that the referee reports him to UEFA.
Are you ready? Can you hear?
All night, it's so bad. How can you be that bad? Honestly, could have been paid. Corruption.
You've probably been fucking paid. Fucking corruption.
Wow.
Declan Rice, to take my hat off. Right, that's our captain. My captain. Right. I've got all the time in the world for that. The referee was poor. That was one example. You know, he gives a yellow card. And I'll be honest, I said to your brother, we got away with that one. We got away with that one. And if VAR came in, and as I said, if VAR, over he goes, and, you know, we know what happens next.
Yeah, as soon as he goes over, you know what's coming next.
Yeah, of course. Now, Cresswell was naive. Cresswell put his hands on him. Cresswell got sent off. Cresswell's to blame, right? But also, you got to put the blame a little bit at the feet of Zouma and Dawson for being up level on the halfway line. I mean, I'm not being funny. The ball came from about 15 to 20 yards inside their half. There's no need for those two centre backs to be on the halfway line level with our central defensive midfielders. There's no need. There's no need for them to be that far up. I'm not being funny. If they dropped off 10 yards, we ain't talking about that sending off, mate. We're really not. It doesn't happen. But yes,
it wasn't long after that the red card, was it? The goal that separated us on the night. I mean, we was already 2-1 down from the first leg, so
it brings on.
It just
killed us.
Daylight, didn't it?
Yeah, it killed us. I mean, I'm going to dig up Ben Johnson. I think he was really poor for the goal. Again, caught well out of position. Which then means that Zouma has to go over and try and cover. Goes over to try and cover the cross coming in. Yeah. Obviously, the pullback. Dawson's not switched on because the geezer comes across him. You can see Dawson looks over his shoulder, knows he's there, does nothing, doesn't go towards the ball quick enough for me. The guy comes across him, and we're 1-0 down. And I'm getting emotional because it's just shit. We didn't deserve it, Rob. Across two legs. I mean, we lost.
Didn't deserve to go to the final, or didn't deserve to go out?
We didn't deserve to end this way. You know what I mean? It's crap. Yeah, I mean, look, we lost the two games. We lost 2-1 with 1-0, but it doesn't tell the story of what we come up against, which I again agreeing with Declan Rice, it's fucking corruption, mate.
I was going to say you agree with his assertion. It's
well, mate, bent as a fucking fake fiver. It's just like, honest to God.
I bet you've seen a few of them over the years.
You know that, mate. You know that. Some of them have been good. Some of them have been good fakes. Some of them have been awful. And the refereeing last night. Well, the refereeing across our games in Europe have been quite poor. The standard, full stop. And I have to say, last night there was a lot of throwing themselves around. Don't get me wrong. I think their game management was okay.
Mm-hmm.
If that had been us, I would have accepted it a little bit. But the referee didn't have a grip on the game in the first leg. This referee certainly didn't have a grip on this game in the second leg. And it just, you know, again, it comes down to the agenda. You know, I just, again, you know, they don't want us winning anything, mate, quite clearly. And it's shit. It's shit. I feel despondent today. I feel absolutely. Now, what I will say is, okay, we battled hard last night. We created chances across both legs that could have put us out of sight. You know, we hit the woodwork 3 times in the first leg.
Yeah.
We got some chances, but what I will say is I do believe we resulted to long ball and shit. And
do you think that was because we just, I don't know. I'll tell you where I'm at with it. I personally feel, obviously, the red card after 19 minutes.
Yeah.
And we've had a few red cards lately where the 10 remaining on the pitch have obviously, as a result, had to put in more effort. And I just think that over the season now, the players are running on fumes. The players are literally, there's not much left in the tank, and we're staggering towards the line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, quite clearly.
Course of this game, over the course of the 2 legs, over the course of probably the last month, I would argue, I just think that the well is starting to run dry, and it does. And I know you say we've done it to death, and we have, but I do fundamentally think that it comes back to the transfer business, not just in January, but also in the summer, that has been poor. And I do hold David Moyes responsible for that. I'm not going to say I'm going to blame him, but I do hold him responsible because he is the manager. He's the man in charge. And we're led to believe that the signings come in or not at his behest. So I do have to hold David Moyes responsible for that. I think if we'd have had a greater depth of quality from the bench over the last however long, it would have rested certain players' limbs that haven't been able to be rested, like the likes of Antonio, the likes of Cresswell, the likes of, do you know what I mean? They've all been flogged this season. Declan Rice, Thomas Soucek, they've absolutely been flogged to death. And it's now coming to the stage. We're at a vital stage. We're now out of Europe, so we can forget that. We've now got to get the result against Norwich or Man City or Brighton. And I'll be honest with you, City, I've resigned myself that we're getting nothing there. Now, maybe that's very, very pessimistic of me, but I just think if we face a City that need the 3 points to win,
they're going to get the 3 points. You ain't going to stop them. You know what I mean? I know that sounds a bit crap, but you ain't stopping them.
But the thing is that, and don't get me wrong, if I'm not saying that we're going to, I'm not saying I hope it will be so, but let's just throw a hypothetical. If obviously we're out of the semi-final stage of a European competition, if we now finish 8th and thereby we don't, at the very least, get Conference League football next season, if you'd have offered me a semi-final and 8th at the beginning of this season, I'd have said, actually, not bad. But now that we're here, it's like 7th is an absolute minimum for me. I want European nights at London Stadium again. I want the opportunity to come to places like Frankfurt and Lyon again.
Yeah,
I'm not going to turn my nose up at the Conference League. I simply won't.
Well, you say that a lot of people are.
I know there will be some that look down their nose at it and say it's and it is an inferior tournament. But tell me, Duke, we're 126 years into our history. Where in our history have we had back-to-back European qualifications through our league placing? First part of the question. Secondly, do we have anywhere in our history where we have a body of time, 5 years, 10 years, where we've had consistent qualification for any sort of European competition, please?
Listen, I stand by you. I mean, I will take, mate, I'll take conference. I'll take any kind of European football. Fuck mine. I mean, it's an experience. I mean, talking to a couple of people on Twitter, a good place for the youngsters to come in and play. It's people earlier were calling it, it's the Papa John's. Fuck off. Like, go away. It's European
Tottenham
football.
fans, though, Duke.
Well, listen.
They were probably Tottenham fans.
No. This was West Ham fans, but I won't lie to you. I've had.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, a lot of the negativity that I see online, and we were discussing this before we went live, and some of the things that you're telling me, I've tried to stay away from a lot of the social media in the last day or two, because I know that there's a body of people out there that claim that they are West Ham fans. I'm not entirely convinced that all of them are. Some of them may well be, and they're just very, very pessimistic. But I think that there are some that masquerade as West Ham fans purely to get a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been on. I'll be honest. I've been on. I've been on Facebook and Twitter just because I want to be. It sounds really stupid. I want to be around people that feel the same. It's just shit. Like, honestly, I was saying, I was talking to Joe earlier. I nearly started crying because I feel so despondent and it's horrible. Right now, I've started a few comments. I'm going to go back. Robert Simon was that a most directive? He's talking about the two centre backs being so far up the pitch at the time of the red card. Maybe not at that point. I still don't know why they were so high up the pitch. Regardless of whether Moyes has said stay with your man, there's no need to stay with your man when he's going back into his own half. Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense at all.
Do you think that the positional in discipline in the defensive side of things that you put it, Duke, was because we're 1-0 or 2-1 down in the leg at that point?
Yeah, but you haven't listened. There was still so much football to play, and that's what I don't understand. That you still had 70 minutes of football to pull the goal back. I mean, they only needed. And listen, don't get me. Well, even going down to 10 men and losing a goal, we still created enough chances, half chances, not great chances, but we still created enough. We still created enough that we could have. We nicked one goal. That's a different story. We get back level terms on the night. That's a different story.
Zoom chance just before half time was the one for me. Score that goal and going at 1-1. Game's still on a knife edge.
Listen, he bundles it more than gets any decent purchase on it, and that's the shit part. Lucas says here it was a referee's first time ever semi-final. Listen, we've all got to start somewhere. Don't get me wrong.
True.
I'm not going to say that. Listen, at the end of the day, referees have to referee their first final at some point, just because it doesn't necessarily go your way. I'm not saying he was a great referee in the slightest, and I do believe there was a backhander somewhere down the line with that game. But referees have to start somewhere. He did it all, and I love the fact that he apologised, but really didn't apologise. I mean, for me, he didn't have anything.
Sorry.
Listen, he didn't have nothing to apologise for. It didn't hit the kid. Move on. Fucking crack on with it. It's. I don't get the the whole we'll make him. It didn't touch the kid. Listen, if it smacked the kid in the back of the head, knocked the kid clean out, face first into the concrete, different story. Yes, okay, then apologise. But you didn't touch him. And the fact he goes, did you hit the kid? He went, no, I think I just bent it round him. I was like, Moisey, I fucking love you, son. It's just brilliant. Lucas says, European competition for us is of any sort is a plus. It's more money, more exposure, more opportunity to become attractive to players. Listen, we win that competition, Champions League will bring the pinnacle of players to the club. Europa League, you're going to get that, you bring it down a notch.
Yeah.
Conference League, you have to go down a notch again. But listen, when you're going to be looking at players like Keane Lewis Potter at Hull or
Ollie Watkins at Villa.
Ollie Watkins at Villa. Kent talks about Adebayo at Luton. These kids don't care what European competition it is. They don't give a monkeys whether it's conference or whether it's Europa League or whether it's Champions League. It's European football. So we become attractive to these players, these certain, these types of players. And Lucas also says, if you turn up your nose at any European away day, I don't know what to say to you. If you turn your nose at any European competition, then there's a problem. And also from a European away day bar in certain countries, of course. And then Robert says, did you see that the referee was the same one that Messi refused to shake the hand with?
No, I didn't.
Let's listen. You can't. You say what you want there. You can read into what you need to, really, innit? I mean, Milesy blames Brexit.
Well, wasn't it their president that turned around and said that the Eintracht Frankfurt president, Peter Fischer, was the one that turned around and said that West Ham shouldn't be in the Europa League because of, Britain leaving the EU. And I was sitting there and I was like, you do realise, mate, that we left the EU, which doesn't mean you're not European. It's just, not every European country that participate in UEFA competition football are members of the EU. Take Russia, for example.
There you go. Luke says we would celebrate a League Cup win, and isn't the conference the same? Football snobs are idiots. Mate, I agree with you. I don't care that.
We celebrated the Intertoto final against Metz.
Fucking so right. Luke says, imagine pretending to be a West Ham fan. I'm a real one, and it ain't brilliant. Yeah, why would you pretend to be a West Ham fan? You could pretend.
I think they're fans of other clubs, whether it's Tottenham, whether it's Millwall, whatever. And I think they masquerade as West Ham fans, trying to get a reaction when something goes wrong, being the pessimistic fuckers that they are, and sparking a reaction from people online. Do you know what I mean? I think they get off on it. 100% happy. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Hey, Rob. Guess who's back?
Talk to me. Sahil.
And he's had his cat.
How are you?
Welcome back, my man. It's good. It's a long time no hear from. No C capital letters. Something. Both had 13 shots. Yeah, I'm happy. They just
we just lacked the quality at crucial moments in the final third. That's what's cost us. That is what's cost us.
Happy says, "I didn't want Champions League anyway." Luke says, "I'll take some of the Frankfurt players." To be honest, you know what? I'm not going to listen. I take Kostic. I saw a little bit more of the fella last night, and he looks good. And Dicker again at the back, solid. Perfect replacement for Dawson for not next season, season after next, because I give Dawson next season, or even a replacement for Ogbonna the season after next. But again, great player. But if they win the Europa League, he ain't coming to us, because Frankfurt are going to be in the Champions League next season. People are saying hello to each other. Luke says, Perhaps Messi couldn't reach the refuse at all. And
bit like Happy went to shake.
Yep, and Sahil says such a hard season, so many games after. After the team wasn't delivering, who's to blame after all? Well, listen, not doing it. I'm not talking about it. We're going to talk about the upcoming one in June and July, and hopefully we see some incoming then, as Lucas says here. A few transfers, Calvin Phillips, Sarr. Yeah, I mean, listen,
massively.
There's some great players outside the Premier League, and there will be again when teams go down. For me, we need to be jumping on things quick. If Burnley get relegated, we need to jump quick. Tarkowski's out of contract at the end of the season. His age for me was a problem when I thought he wasn't the age he was. Now I know how old he is. I think he's 29. Do it. It's a free transfer. Get it done. The Nick Pope saga. I'll go get Nick Pope tomorrow. If Burnley look like they
were going to end up... story?
No, tell me. Go on.
Well, there was a story floating around, and I believe that the genesis of this was from Tony Cottee, where Tony Cottee has allegedly said that he understands that we have signed for next season an English goalkeeper. And the inference being it is one of two people is in the frame, and it's either Sam Johnston on free, or it's Nick Pope.
Well, listen, I'd actually take either of them. I think Johnson is a good keeper. Let's not mess around. I do think he's a good keeper. He's not the best, and I think Nick Pope would be a better option. But
do you think Areola would be better than either of them?
To be honest, I've not seen enough of Areola this season. I know that sounds stupid. We've only seen him in the cup competitions. We've not seen him go out in the Premier League and have enough in the Premier League. Nick Pope in the Premier League. Listen, Nick Pope is an intimidating goalkeeper. He is an absolute fucking beast. He's a big fella. Mate, I'll tell epic.
Oh.
Could be, mate.
Could be. He's screwed up his career.
It's looking like 1 hag, 2 hag, 3 hag, 4 hag, 5 hag. Fuck off with a chant, knobheads. He looks like he's going to be getting rid of a few. I think he's going to try and raise some money to try and sign Declan Rice. Piss off. And I tell you what, Trevor Sinclair, I'm going to find him and I'm going to drown him. I'm going to put him in a bag, throw him weighted with rocks.
Can I remind you of something?
Yeah.
You're going to be seeing him in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to drown him. I'm going to put his head in the toilet and flush it.
I hope he ain't watching this.
I don't care. I'll tell him to his face, stop talking about fucking Declan Rice on TalkSport about he needs to leave the club.
That's his job.
But what you're doing is you're creating a lot of hate from people that used to admire you, because I'm getting that way now. If that's
his honest opinion, Duke, if he's asked a question and it's his honest opinion.
But he can also turn around and say, I don't think he has to. And if I was in his shoes, that's, if it was me, then fine. If it was me, then I've got to leave. But don't keep saying Declan Rice has to leave West Ham. No, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to leave West Ham. If he stays and we build a club, build the side around him, we can win things with Declan Rice in our team. We can. With the right money spent on the right players, we can win stuff. And Declan Rice can be a piece. He doesn't have to leave West Ham. He doesn't have to. And he doesn't have to keep coming out and saying shit like that. I've had Sky Sports News on, and that's all they've spoken about all morning. Declan Rice, Stuart Downing was on there saying, no, West Ham are going to lose Declan Rice. West Ham are going to lose Declan Rice. If I was Declan Rice. The old Arsenal women's player, she was on there. And she was
Scott.
No. Dark-skinned lady. And I was just like, shut up. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. We've just literally came off of the back of a real tough one to take. We're all feeling a bit shitty this morning, every single one of us. of feeling like crap, right? I drank a significant, I think I drank my body weight in alcohol last night, right?
What a shock.
And I thought I was going to wake up feeling as rough as arseholes this morning. Do you want to know something? I didn't. I woke up feeling like shit because I felt like I'd had my heart broken. Like, honestly, I woke up this morning feeling like I did when my first real girlfriend broke up with me. I felt that crappy about myself.
Do you think losing in a semi-final is worse than losing in the final itself? Because at least if you're the beaten finalist, you've at least got that day out, prestige final, big stadium, crowd, all of your fans, blah blah blah, all the razzmatazz. Whereas the semi-final, it's like you've got that close to it.
That's it.
That you're having those dreams, and it's like, we don't want to give you that.
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. And like I say, I woke up this morning, I felt deflated. Like I'd convinced myself. I put it in the chat. I've convinced myself. I'd convinced myself we were going to win this. The players had convinced themselves. You know, you listen to the interview with Declan Rice, and he says, "I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it for Nobes." Someone was cutting onions when I watched that interview, because I tell you, it was. But the future's bright. It's been a real impressive season.
Agreed.
Let me phrase that. It's been an impressive 2 seasons, right? We were looking like we were going to get relegated in. We looked like we were going to get relegated 2 years ago, and we were going to be going through another bullshit rebuild. Yeah, because essentially that's what it is for a club like us. You get relegated, we have to start again. Yeah. You know, Declan Rice would have definitely gone. There's no two ways about that. But here we are on the verge of, you know, if we can pick up maybe 3 points in the next 3 games, possibly even 4, 5, 6. Well, it won't be, European football again next season. Listen, Wolves have got a real difficult running.
Yes.
That benefits us. We've got to play City, and I really hope Liverpool slip up in the next couple of games. So that pressure's off of City. Don't see it happening, but listen, we can spoil that party. Of course we can. We're capable of spoiling that party. We've beaten them once already this season in the cup.
All day long, I would take a point. I
We
think Norwich is the one. See, and I'm going to be going on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how to sort of gauge it, because I sort of look and I think, right, we're a club that have made a European semi-final. That journey is now at its end. We're in 7th presently. And if we stay 7th, we get European football again. As I say, for the second time in our history, for the first time in our history, back-to-back European campaigns through a qualifying through the league placing. Yes. First time we've ever done it. We've had back-to-back seasons in Europe, but not through that route. So that's huge. That to me represents a great deal of consistency over a volume of time. Now, the only thing that I'm struggling with is that we're playing a team that have now had their relegation confirmed. Does that then mean that they're going to play with a little bit more freedom, a little bit less pressure on their shoulders because they know their fate? All will be revealed. But we need to go out. We need to put them on one side. We need to get the 3 points off of them. I personally think that 3 points virtually seals European football next season through our league placing. That's my opinion. Yeah,
I mean, Andy makes a point here. Trev saying if Nick's got ambition to move on, we've underachieved. How the fuck have we underachieved, Rob? Like, where does the underachievement come from? I don't think there is one
coming from there.
You know, listen, the improvement on 2 years ago, the improvement on season. Okay, last season we weren't playing European football. We finished 7th in the league. This season we've played European football and we're finishing 7th in the league. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, it's not progress. We've kind of stayed still. We're in the same position we were last season. Yeah, but you've got to bear in mind, we've just got to a semi-final of a European competition. That's progress. It's progress. I'm sorry, but that is progress. And, you know, it's, for me, that's moving forward. Next season, okay, it's European football again. Doesn't matter what European competition is, it's European football again. Now, if we can get to the final, if we can win that, if we, you know, whatever next season goes with that European competition, I'd have to fancy our chances at the start of it. If we qualify, I have to fancy our chances because, you know, we're not Tottenham. Sorry.
That's my wife that's not watching. Thanks.
Don't matter. You can deal with that. Seal says it's a good run. This is football. There must be a winner and a loser. You're right. And it's shit. Oh, sorry. We finished 6th last year. But we've also played. But we've also played, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Played 12 games more this season in one extra tournament. So it's still, for me, it's still progression. And I'm happy to finish 7th if we finish 6th last year. I still feel that's progression. Okay.
I said that I thought if we finished 7th this season and won the Europa League, then despite the fact it's a lower league position, because of that, I would have said this would have been a better season. Now, if we finish 7th and obviously we haven't got to the final, let alone going on to win the Europa League, I would say it's probably comparable.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm not gonna say no. You're fucking wrong. I still think we have progressed as a club. I think we have progressed. What I will say is we do need investment. Right? There's no two ways this season. As I said in the preview, you know, we're looking at losing 5, possibly 6 players in the postseason. So we need to, not only do we need to trust either some of the youngsters stepping in and filling a couple of those gaps in the likes of Perkins, Okaflex, Chesters, Ashby, the centre-backs, Alesse and Baptiste. Well, there's 7. If they're good enough to step up, then they step in. And then we look at bringing in an extra 4, 5, 6 players. You know, if the goalkeeper one is already settled, well, we lose Areola as well. Sorry, Areola, Randolph, Martin. So you're looking at 8 players, probably 9 players going out the club more than likely. You know, if we've signed a goalkeeper, allegedly, then so be it. But, you know, free transfers in Tarkowski wouldn't go amiss. You know, I'd be looking at players like Ndicka next season. If they don't win that, I'd be looking at, because obviously if they don't win that, they don't qualify for Europe again.
Yeah, and I don't think their league placing's too clever, is it? So I don't think they can root through. Are they still in the German Cup? I am, Doug. Yeah, I'm still in Frankfurt.
Afternoon, Richard. Thank you for coming along, my man. Well, yeah.
What's this? These pundits don't like West Ham. That's the bottom line. He's listening to these pundits about talking about Declan in West Ham. Going to read shots. Bottom line. If you need resources. Is that referring to Mr. Sinclair?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I say,
it's in general. It's across the board.
Yeah, I mean, look, Trevor Sinclair, I don't have a problem with. If he's asked a question and he's just giving his honest opinion, I might not like that opinion. I might fundamentally disagree with that opinion. I might actually think, what a dickhead. But if that's his honest opinion, he's allowed it.
Yeah, don't mean I have to like it though.
No, I know. Well, you're going to see him in a couple of weeks. So
I'll let him know. I'll let him know. You know,
I'm going to be there with you, so that'll be fun.
You can hold me back.
Ding ding, round 1.
Do you, in the grand scheme of things, Rob?
Yep.
And I'm trying to be optimistic. Right, I am. I can't. I've got a feeling if I carry on feeling like this way today, I'm going to feel like this for the rest of the season. Like, I'm going to feel really shitty because obviously this was a big chance for us. You know, we've been around a while. We've been supporting this club for a significant amount of time now. You know, over 4 decades. Let's be honest.
Before the internet existed.
Yep, before the internet, before seats at
or mobile phones.
Mate, yeah, before yeah, God, before Concord, mate.
Sometimes I feel like I've been supporting West Ham before they invented the wheel, but
it feels that way.
it
feels that way. But like I say, I want to be optimistic because, as I said earlier, the future does look bright. If we can blood those kids and trust those kids. You know, you were talking yesterday about the Academy of Football, blah blah blah. Not yesterday, the other day when you did your show. I've just got to say is hopefully we'll strengthen in the summer. Okay. And I mean proper strengthen in the summer. Hopefully Kretinsky's money comes back from wherever he's been hiding it. Or it's been, you know, locked up and taken away from him. You know, hopefully we can go and get the likes of, you know, Calvin Phillips. Listen, I miss the old Souček, and if you know the whole Declan Rice became a box-to-box midfielder with England last summer, and you can kind of blame Gareth Southgate for Thomas Souček's lack of a season this season, because last season for us, Thomas Souček was Declan Rice and Declan Rice was Calvin Phillips, if you understand, for England. This season, Declan Rice now wants to bomb on, so they're asking Thomas Souček to be the Calvin Phillips, which I think is why Deck said when asked, you know, who do you want? Well, I want Calvin. You know, I'm not saying that we end up getting rid. I know Spuds want Big Tom, and I'm not advocating selling him. But again, we've proved this season that our squad isn't big enough to cope with the rigours of, you know, competing on 4 fronts, 4 trophies: FA Cup, League Cup, Europe, and Premier League. So then we don't have to get rid of him because he's still going to play a veritable number of games. You know, if he plays 12 in the League Cup, 12 in Europe, okay, and that's just getting to the semi-final. 13 if we go all the way. Well, that's 13 games under his belt. If he plays the FA Cup and we get to the quarterfinals, he's played another 3-4 games. The same with the League Cup. You know, he can play, so he can still be playing 20 plus games a season. You know, there's nothing to stop him, plus injuries. You know, so there's nothing to stop him from playing X amount of games if we do bring in another CDM who's a better quality than Thomas. I like Thomas. I've got a lot of time for Thomas. But we need, as Richard says here, wrong one. Richard says here, 2 people commented as I went to press on it. You know, we need a great transfer window. Don't need a good, listen, we don't need a good transfer window. We need a great transfer window.
We at the very least need to match in terms of numbers the ingoings and the outgoings. Do you see what I mean? So if there are 8 players that are either moved on or retire or their contracts have up and they are no longer West Ham players that are in the first team at the minute, then we need to bring at least that number coming in, but they need to be fundamentally better players than the ones that are departing. So at the very least, the numbers won't have changed, but the quality is improved. If we can get in an extra player or 2 on top of that to beef it up in terms of numbers and quality, bring it on.
I just hope the kids are ready to step up next season. Do you know what I mean? Lucas has said the Declan Rice video is the only thing that he's clinging to today. I'll tell you what, listen, the whole thing with Declan Rice is he's a West Ham player. He loves the club. He loves the club. You know, if it was me, I'd give the prick the money, I'd give him the armband, and I'd tell him, right, you're staying, and that minimum release clause is going to be £150 million. Right, there it is. £180 million. There it is. give him a
The
5.
only reason Declan Rice is not the best player at the club is because of Declan Rice. He's not. He's been offered 3 times a contract that would have made him that most,
Listen,
highest paid player, and he has not seen fit to sign it. So
then, can we just ask him what he wants? What's it going to take to keep you at the club, Deck?
And I reading between the lines, I think that the club know perfectly well what Declan Rice wants.
Yeah. But then maybe Declan Rice needs to come out and say what he wants and let us know what he wants. Do you know what I mean? Because here we are going, Deck, we want you to stay, but what's it going to take to keep him? Like, I want to know.
But that's a conversation between his representatives and the club. I know what you're saying.
No. That's a conversation between me
fundamentally
and
not our business.
No. Listen, of course it is. We want.
Well, it isn't. It isn't.
We want to know if he wants to stay. It's that simple. Come out and tell me you want to stay. Come out and tell me you see the next 2 or 3 years of you at this club. Then sign that contract that gives us some stability of keeping him at the club and getting a wage for him at the end, or getting a fee for him at the end. I don't want to let this man go on a free transfer because I'll be all fucking sick if he walks away from this club on a free. No, he's worth 150 quite comfortably. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Do you want to do the player ratings?
Are you able to on your phone? Or are we just doing
the graphics, so we're just going to have to do it old school.
Okay.
All right. There you go. That works. Like I say, I'm doing it on my phone, guys. It is what it is. Talk to me about Alphonse Areola.
7.
Okay.
I can't, Do
you think he could have done better with the goal?
No, he was kind of, listen, he can't really blame him too much. He was left exposed. It was a very easy tap in. It was one of those that you saw coming, and I didn't see him stopping it, to be honest with you. I could see as it was happening, I could see the eventuality to it. It's a bit like as Thanos once said, "I am inevitable." Well, that's how that goal felt. It was inevitable that it was coming. I'll give him a 7. I don't blame him at all.
Okay, Vladimir Kufel.
7. A lot of blustering, a lot of effort, a lot of running up and down. I think his delivery could have been better at times, but to be honest with you, a lot of these are going to be 6s and 7s. A lot of effort, very little output. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. And a bit like, I suppose, we'll come to him later, but just obviously Pablo Fornals is someone that's often mentioned of his work rate, blah, 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 even when he's had a good game, his work rate. Do you know what I mean? So I see what you're saying. Talk to me about the guy that walked, Mr. Cresswell.
I'm going to give him a 6.
Really?
Yeah, I am. He should have kept his hands off him, but he was put in a position that he should never have been. He should never have been put in that position. Listen, I ain't gonna bash the fella. He's feeling shit. Guarantee he's woke up this morning. Guarantee there's going to be a public apology across some social media. Maybe at the club that he a note from Aaron Cresswell, or whatever it's going to be. There'll be a.
He will feel awful.
And of course he will. Of course he will. Listen, there is no one, right? Don't matter how. Listen, we've got 18 people watching this. We've lost 11. Doesn't matter how. Don't matter. Well, we've lost no one there. Doesn't matter how we feel this morning. Okay, doesn't matter how we feel this morning. If we feel shit, Aaron Cresswell feels that 300 times over. Promise you now. He's going to be kicking himself. He's probably missed, but he's going to kick himself. He's going to hate himself this morning. He is. Listen, we've known for 18 months that we need a new left back. Is Johnson the answer? Probably not. But what else can we do? What else can you do? He's what he's picked. You can only pick what's in front of you. I'm going to give him a 6. There's people here that are giving him. So Lucas gave Ariola a 6. And then Epic asked him how to give him a 6. He did nothing wrong. Lucas replies, because it's an average performance, which is what a 6 is, really, isn't it? It is what it is. Luke says, Cresswell 3, so slow and
all over his head's his weakness, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. Epic says Luke's only going to get worse. He's aging, and Luke says he did the same against Leon. Positives from a European run. Brian more exposure regarding declaration, strategy, ambition. Deck will stay if he knows their ownership are limited. That's true. If they spend, he might stay. No, listen. I'm not gonna give in to the Cresswell hate. I'm not doing it. I really won't. There's enough people out there that are hating on him, and I guarantee you he's hating on himself.
Yeah.
So he ain't gonna get that from me. He's been a great servant for the club. He's been fantastic. He's been a fantastic servant for the club, but his time at the club's coming to an end now. It happens to all players. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Okay, Mark Noble is too slow to be a Premier League player anymore. Yeah, quite simple. He knows that. He's retiring. But we still love Mark Noble, and we certainly don't give Mark. If Mark Noble had got sent off tonight, would Mark Noble have been getting death threats? Of course he fucking would have done. Behave yourselves. He's old, he's slow. Cresswell, he's old, he's slow. I think it might be. It's over for him at West Ham now. I think it's time for him to move on. I hate it because I love Cresswell, and I'm a big. I've got a lot of time for Cresswell, but. Yeah, Epic says we need to get rid of these geriatric players rather sooner than later. Cresswell, Fabianski are only going to Cresswell, Fabianski, and Antonio are only going to be worse next season. I agree with
that. Don't disagree with it.
I agree with all three. But what I will say is, Antonio will still, he's still a beast. Although he's not slow, but he's for whatever reason, there's something going on up here with him, and it just doesn't work for me. Darren says 2 punts, 3 big signings, and 3 on a free. Which I'll be happy with that. Would you include one of the punts as being Keane Lewis Potter? Would you consider that a big signing?
I would consider that a punt because it's from the Championship.
And the other one, not Brereton.
I think any signing you make from a Championship club is fundamentally a punt because they've got no pedigree at Premier League level, so you don't know whether they're going to sink or swim.
Luke's the opposite of me. He says he's off to Cress's house in a mow with banners and placards.
Don't do it, Luke. Don't do it. Talk to me about Kurt Zuma.
6. I thought he was caught out of a position, same as Dawson. Dawson's a 6. I'll cover them both at the same time. They were both caught out of position for the goal. I put just as much blame on them for being out of position and us being down to 10 men as I do Aaron Cresswell for being handsy. Because if they hadn't have been where they were, he wouldn't have had to have been where he was, and we wouldn't have been down to 10 men.
Fair enough. Don't forget, you've also got your hero or zero to award should you wish to do it. Talk to me about Thomas Souček.
I'm going to go 6, but he misplaced a few passes last night.
He was poor in his passing.
He was actually poor in the box as well. I don't know why we do it. I was talking to your brother during the game, and we launched a long throw into the box, and the keeper comes out and claims it. Who's stopping the keeper from coming out and claiming it?
Surely that should be Antonio, shouldn't it?
Listen, it should be, but he was also taking a throw. Well, I don't get it.
Exactly.
I don't get it. So, but no, Souček, a few misplaced passes. his overall game is suffering because of Declan Rice is getting to do what Declan Rice wants to do, and I think Souček is suffering from that.
Okay, so we've covered off the centre backs, we've covered off Souček, so I guess the next one we've got to do is the captain, who was very complimentary of the referee.
I'm gonna give Deck a 7. He kept trying to. Yeah, again, Luke, I agree with you. A 7 for Deck. You know, the passion was there, the drive. You know, every time he got the ball, he was trying to push forward with it. But again, there just seemed to be a lack of movement up front for him. You know, I was talking yesterday to your brother about, you know, recycling the ball and ball retention, and yeah, he tried, but because of the lack of movement in front of him, because of just what Frankfurt were doing, which we knew they were going to do once they got their goal as well, you know, they didn't have to do anything else but sit a bit deeper and invite us and just weather the storm, really. They broke as well, but we had great difficulty breaking them down. But Declan Rice at least tried. 7.
Okay, Jared Bowen?
7. Again, they tend to have had his number yesterday, I felt. He did a lot of running. He did a lot of huffing and puffing, a bit like the big bad wolf when it came to the brick house. There was a lot of huffing and puffing. A lot of effort from him. But again, it's just that frustrating thing of nothing else. You know, there was no other. No, I tell you what, if we could have the players like Declan Rice and Jared Bowen across the pitch for effort, drive, determination, would be a lot better.
Fair enough. What's this? I'm not going to hate on any of these players. Come a long way, limited resources, small squad, done well. But now I want more. Yeah, that's always the thing. Is sort of like you always want to build incrementally, don't you? We've finished 6th. We're possibly going to finish 7th this season, whilst finishing in a semi-final in a European. And that is the thing. You know, it becomes addictive, doesn't it? You want right. Okay, we've done this season. Now let's see if we can just nudge it on a little bit more next time. So, oh, hang on. Where's he just gone? I'm now on my own. Oh, hang on. Hold on.
Bring myself in.
What the bloody hell happened there?
Me and the mouse pad.
Oh.
I'm on a Mac, so when you drag 2 fingers left or right, you either go forward on your page or back on your page. And I was trying to move the cursor so I could see Luke's comment, and I took myself out of the stream. So I do apologise.
No.
What English Charlie says there, and you said, Rob, it's becoming addictive now. That European adventure was addictive. Like, listen, I don't give a fuck. I'll play Thursday, Sunday every week. I don't care. I want European football again. I want it. It was an amazing feeling to say West Ham were Europa League semi-finalists this year. It's great. I would love to have said finalists or a winner, but hey ho, it is what it is. But here we are.
Good footage on my video diary from yesterday. I'm putting it all together, and I'll kick that out on the channel in the days that come. Maybe tomorrow, as the song goes. Maybe tomorrow. No, I'm not going to start singing. Talk to me about Manuel Lanzini. I felt really sorry for him because obviously the sending off meant that 22 minutes in and his game was over.
I would have kept him on and taken off 4 nails personally. That's me. I would have kept him on. His ball retention is better.
Are you saying that though with the benefit of hindsight, or?
No, I said it at the time. I said it to your brother at the time when I saw that he was going to make a sub. I actually said it needs to be 4 nails because for me, what we lost when he went off was the ability to pick a pass. Listen, Lanzini is a player that can unlock a door.
Yes.
With a bobby pin or a toothpick, and he can unlock a defence with an absolute peach. But it's a simple peach, and we lost that. We lost that last night. I really felt that he could have been he could have been the one. For all of Fornell's bluster, his work rate and everything else, and as much as I appreciate that when I've got 11 players on the pitch, probably appreciate when I've got 10 players on the pitch as well. But when we're behind in a tie on aggregate, and we know that this team are going to sit because they're in front, we need that special ability to be able to unlock that door. And I just felt taking him off kind of took that away from us a little bit, and we had to go more of a direct route rather than, a locksmith route.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. How about Pablo Fornells then? What would you rate him?
6. Again, it was a very average performance. It wasn't like, listen, we've come away and we've lost because of the red card, Rob. There's no two ways about it. 11 players on the pitch. It's a whole different story. Yeah. But because we're down to 10, it's an average performance from everyone else because we didn't win. He was another player that, fluked a few passes, some dangerously silly tackles as well from him. I'm going to let you know, kind of flying in. But again, it's just one of them. As I say, I'm going to keep saying it. We lost because of the red card. So the players still try, but because we're down to 10 men, it was a struggle.
Yeah, that changed the complexion of the match entirely. You got to say that. Michael Antonio.
6. He's lucky he gets a 6. It was going to be a 5.
I think you're being incredibly generous there, in my opinion.
It was going to be a 5, but again, he's not a striker, Rob. And we've said this numerous times over the course of the last 4 months since he hasn't scored. He's a good wigger. But that's it. If anything, I'll put him out on the left and be done with it. 5. I'm going back to 5.
Okay. Is anyone of the starting 11 going to be the recipient of your hero or zero award?
Hero and zero awards not going out today.
Yeah. Okay.
I know people will think that probably I should give it to Cressy for the sending off, but again, I'm not buying into the hate of Cressy. I'm really not. He's the guy is going to be hard enough on himself without everyone else coming down on him. So if he wants to give himself the 0, that's up to him, but I'm not going to do it.
And you're not going to give anyone a hero award either?
No, because there wasn't one in the end. Was there? And you look at it, there wasn't one.
Substitutes. Obviously, Ben Johnson had a lot more time than probably he thought he would get on the pitch. What did you think?
5. He was at fault for the goal, mate. He was out of position again, too high up the pitch on that left hand side. He was too high, and they got in behind him too easily, which then drew Zuma out of position. Zuma would have been there to cut that ball out had Johnson been the one defending and Fornell's been the one that was walked past like Ben Johnson was. Zuma would have been there to clear that ball quite easily, but Zuma couldn't because he had to go to the man. A 5 for Benny. 5 for Johnson. Sorry, Ben Johnson. Ben.
Go on, Benny, because he came on, didn't he?
Listen, again, he wasn't. He tried. I'm going to give him a 6. He didn't stand out either, in a good way or in a bad way. He was just another one of them players that was on the pitch, just was there. It's just shit. Actually, yeah, you know what? Luke's given my hero out for me. Luke has given my hero out for me, and I will quite happy with that.
I did wonder.
Yeah, you know what, Darren? You're right. Mate, starts with Gillingham getting relegated and then ends with us not winning. Yeah.
Who else came on as a sub? Just those two. I'm trying to remember. Thank you, Justin. Appreciate that.
I actually don't know.
I say I drunk a lot last night.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I can't remember. Did he use 3 subs?
I don't
Did he bring on a
actually
3rd sub? Hi, James.
don't actually know, mate.
I
Hi,
can't remember.
James. You're right.
I'll tell you, there was an awful lot of Guinness. Well, no, it wasn't Guinness. They were pulling Murphy's.
Oh, was it Murphy?
It was Murphy's they were pulling in this pub.
Fair enough.
I did wonder whether they'd cleaned the lines.
Oh, really? Was it one of them?
Did Yarmolenko come on? I can't remember.
Yeah, Ben Rama, Ben Johnson, and Yarmolenko.
Yama. Okay. Cheers. Thanks, James. As I say, you'll have to forgive me.
I don't even remember seeing him on the pitch. I'll be honest.
That's probably why I forgot.
Yeah. I can't remember. 6. He did nothing bad, but did nothing good either.
Which means we've got to come to the man at the top, Mark David Moyes. 6.
Again, nothing special. It would have been higher, but he was too slow with the subs, especially the attacking subs. He waited too long. Me and your brother were screaming for Ben Rama to get on a lot earlier.
Yeah.
I was talking, I think on the 58th minute, I actually turned around and said, get Ben Rama on the pitch. Can't do
just roll the dice.
Huh?
Just roll the dice.
Yeah, it didn't matter at that point. It really didn't matter at that point.
If we bring on an offensive substitute for a more defensive-minded player, we're 1-0 down on the second leg. We're 3-1 down on aggregate. Do you know what? If he put on an offensive substitute, trying to get an equaliser, and we ended up going 2-0 down, I'd be like, fuck it. It doesn't matter. It fundamentally changed nothing. We were going out anyway. Fair play on you for at least making an offensive substitution.
I would have taken off FRAWHU and brought on Benny at that point, and just gone 3 at the back, because I'm not being funny. We're losing. We're losing 3-1. If they score again, we're still losing. Doesn't matter at that point. Doesn't matter at that point. If we get a goal, it's game on. But yeah, I mean, listen.
That's the one thing, and I am a David Moyes fan, and I know you are as well, Duke. But that is the one thing that really frustrates me with him is the substitutions. Do you know what I mean? It's like that you probably know an awful lot of the time the substitutes that he's going to go to,
and the time.
Yeah, you know roughly what time he's going to do it, and you know who's coming off. Pretty much, you can pretty much write it down before you've even sort of like gone to the game. You see the starting 11, you see what the substitutes are, and you can probably fill it in the rest. And every now, in a situation like that, get a more attacking substitute on, like you say, 60th minute, 50th minute, 55th minute, whatever. We're losing the game. Get another attacker on. Sacrifice a defender. Go for it.
Mate, I was at a point where I turned around and said to the 2 guys, your brother and one of the other guys we were watching with, and I turned around and said to them, I don't understand, and Luke says it here. I mean...
yeah, fair play.
I don't agree with him being rubbish, but what I would have done is I would have taken off probably Souček and, Coufal and gone Benny and... Vlasic, whatever, and literally gone 3-1. Everyone else, it didn't matter at that point.
Yeah,
3-1-5. It would have been 3-1-5. I don't care. Let's go. Let's just bring it on, because at the end of the day, as I said a minute ago, a 1-0 loss is the same as a 2-0 loss in the cup competition. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It's not like you've got to worry about your goal difference, or you haven't got to worry about where you're going to finish in the league because of that. No, there is none of that. A 1-0 loss away from home in a second leg of a cup is no different to losing 2-0 if you're already behind from the first leg. It makes no difference.
Yeah, I agree. And like I say, it's just the one thing or one of the things that frustrates me about Moyes. But listen, he's got us to a European semi-final. He got us 6th in the Premier League last season. We're currently 7th. We could finish in a European spot via our league placing. It's not all doom and gloom. Reasons to be cheerful.
Massively, massively. And you know what? Look, it's done now. It's done. We can't change it. I don't have a time machine that allows me to go back and fix it. I can't do that. None of us can. So we have to move on now. Hang on. Give us 2 seconds, James. I'll answer your question before we call it a day. We've got to look forward. That's it now. The future with the right investment in the summer, the future will be very, very bright. Very, very. We're going to have a lot more European adventures as a club with the right investment. And fingers crossed that starts on Sunday. With a win at Norwich. A win at Norwich puts us in a very good place to be able to play European football next season. As a Facebook user, I don't know who you are because it doesn't come up with your name via Facebook, but we've had a taste of Europe and I liked it. And that's spot on. I can't disagree with that in any way, shape or form. I've enjoyed our European adventure and it's been an adventure. It's been fun. It gave us something to be optimistic about. The fact that we've had 2 good seasons in the league, but Europe was just that little bit of a cherry on the top of that cake, wasn't it? So
added bonus.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like when we qualified for this competition via 6th last season, at the beginning of that season, this was a season that followed on from us escaping relegation, and 2 games in, we've lost at home to Newcastle, away to Arsenal. If you'd have turned around to me at that point and gone, at the end of the season, you'll finish 6th. You'll go into Europe. The following season, you'll get to the semi-finals of the Europa League. And with 3 games left of the following Premier League season, you'll be 7th and gunning for another European finish. Wouldn't have believed you.
No, I mean, James is right in what he's just said there. Thursday night meant something this season, rather than just been another day of the week. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to find. I don't like leaving. Leaving it with Facebook user. I like to be able to know. Oh, it was your brother, Ben.
What was it?
Yeah, it was your brother, Ben. Sorry I left you last night, mate. I ended up having a walk. I did go hunting. I won't lie. I wanted something to start.
He wanted to go out, find a random person in Lewisham that was wearing an Eintracht Frankfurt shirt.
Mate,
and I'm gonna get this out of the way because obviously there was a lot of stuff floating around about Frankfurt fans, and I've seen the footage from the Fox and Hounds from the Wednesday night, I think it was, or it might have been the Tuesday. I have to say that the Frankfurt fans that I encountered were top class. We I was at come away from the Fox and Hounds, and there was a guy there, Adam, who may well be watching this, and because he subscribed. And we went. There's a place just across the way there, and we got a kebab. Kebabs out here are a bit weird. They're not in pita bread, or at least this one wasn't. It was in more like a roll. It was like a crusty. Really? Yeah. Anyway, I've completely lost my train of thought. What was? It's the alcohol. It's the alcohol in the old age. Whatever. I say, I'm pissed off that obviously it's ended the way it has. Don't get me wrong, but as I say, I'm trying to find reasons to be optimistic. I'm trying to sort of not look on the negatives too much. We've come so far in a short space of time on fairly limited resources in terms of our expenditure compared to a lot of our peers, and with a smaller squad than a lot of other teams, and we've done so well. And yeah, we've got so close, and it's been, so close yet so far. Do you know what I mean? But we can we're still on the up. We're still on the up. We have to take a step back and go, yes, this game, and we're reviewing this game, and we're pissed off, we're disappointed, and everything else. But just take a step back and go. But the bigger picture is, we are we're building. We're building.
Ha ha, I was on mute. Yeah, I want to cover. I'm going to let you cover this because I've made my point on this earlier on in the video. James said he arrived late, so can you have a quick summary on Cresswell last night? I've given my point.
Well, sure, because let him know, because obviously he wouldn't have seen it.
Well, I was going to let you take the lead on this one. I'll be honest with you, James. What I said was, I put equal amounts of blame. Listen, he's handsy, and he tried to commit to a tackle that he's trying to come through from behind the defender, from the attacker. So in theory, he was never going to get there unless he makes a definite contact on that ball. It's going to be a foul. You know, they're wrestling with each other before he goes to ground, and Cresswell, you know, he doesn't make the touch on the ball that would have stopped that from being a red card. I also put the blame at the feet of Zuma and Dawson for being so high up the pitch that he has to come over from left back to right centre back to make the tackle. Where were the two centre backs? You know, they were on the halfway line when the ball was 10 yards inside the Frankfurt half. They had no reason to be there. That's my look on it, James. That's where I'm coming from on that. Just because, you know, that's how I feel on it. Rob?
Red card was regrettably the correct decision by the letter of the law. As soon as you saw the ref go across to the monitor, you knew it was getting upgraded from the initial yellow to a red. I think Aaron Cresswell has been a fantastic servant for West Ham United. I don't want to see him moved on in the summer because I think, and this may be me being very sentimental, I would like him to get the opportunity that James Collins never was given, that Winston Reid never was given, and whether you think they deserved it or didn't, the facts are that they were at the club for 10 years, which normally the tradition dictates in English football that they are granted a testimonial. So I would like to give Aaron Cresswell that honour, that mark of respect, if you will. But I do think we need an upgrade on him in the summer. I think we need to get a left back that doesn't just put pressure on Cresswell at left back, but actually places him on the substitutes bench, and we can have him coming on later in games for his dead ball abilities and whatever else. But we definitely need an upgrade in the summer. His lack of pace, his weakness of balls played over his head behind, they are a fundamental flaw. And obviously, as he's getting older and his pace is waning, that particular weakness will become ever more pronounced.
And one last question from him. Should Cresswell be first choice next season? To be honest with you,
I've already answered that.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. We shouldn't have even put him in position that he was first choice this season. I don't mean to be rude. We should have had that upgrade. You know, already that should have been something that was already in place. So, you know, I no is the answer, but he shouldn't have been this season either. So I think that covers it. And Luke says the testimonials exist anymore. I don't think they do, but I just don't think they exist in the same sort of.
Yeah, I mean, sort of like testimonials back in the day were because players weren't paid the vast sums of money that they do now. Because you'll notice that nowadays, if a player, rare occasions that a player has a testimonial, the player generally gives it to a charity. Yeah,
because like you say, there's a lot
of money
involved. So yeah, I mean, listen. Before we wrap it up, Rob, any final thoughts from you?
It's been a hell of a ride. I'm in Frankfurt as we record this. I was in Lyon a couple of weeks ago. The experience in Frankfurt and Lyon up to the point of the match have been fantastic. Obviously, in Lyon, it went past the match because of the result of the match. Now, I got to be honest, I'm feeling a bit flat. I'll be honest, and this is going to sound really bad. I'm actually feeling lonely. Does that kind of make sense? I'm feeling a little bit
lost.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt when I woke up this morning, mate. Exactly how I felt. And I said to you before we came live, didn't I? That's. Can I ask you a question just quickly before we do go? What's that behind you over your shoulder?
This?
Yeah.
It's a very German box of tissues that they've bolted to the wall.
Have you been missing Mrs. Gates that much then? That you needed to have a box of tissues bolted to the wall behind you?
No, because just down here I've got my inflatable sheep. Right. And here I've got the tub of Vaseline as well. So next question.
Enough of that shit. Disgusting perverts. There's no need for it. I think we'll keep him gone. I don't think we'll ever have him back. It's just a wrong in that man. I don't can't even with you. I can't even with you. You absolute wrong.
Listen. I've always warned you. You load the gun and I am going to fire it. Literally.
Listen, if your gun was loaded, there's a right. English Liardi, we are building, but for Deck it might be too slow. This is going to be a wild transfer, summer transfer. Lots of free transfers. Newcastle will overspend. Strap yourself in for a wild ride. Luke says, like that sheep will need the Vaseline anymore.
Fair enough.
Listen, you 22 people that are still in chat, please jump over and give this stream a like. Please, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications when me and Mr. Rob go live. We've got some cracking shows lined up, some bits and pieces coming up, especially when the season finishes. So please, like I say, stick around, hit the bell icon to be notified when we do put these new shows out, because they're going to be a lot of fun.
Don't forget our socials.
Go on then.
Don't forget our socials, because they are out there and they are for your enjoyment should you wish to do so. And I've got a funky little thing right here. There you go. I like that one.
Hey, Rob.
Right side. Are you comfortable with this?
Listen, I don't care anymore. Can I ask you something? What's this one for? Yeah. I like that one.
That was one that when I was pointed in the direction of where to sort of create these little interludes, that was just one that I did as I was mucking around. I don't think I've actually used it, to be honest.
No, I just saw it in there.
You've just done it.
There's loads of stuff in the chat, in the video.
This is what happens when you're on button pressing duty. You're like, woo!
It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Do you want to do the outro?
Hey, what?
Do you want to do the outro? Because we're on opposite sides, so I guess that's what's going to have to happen.
Mate, I don't even know where the outro is. Where is the outro?
Below the intro.
It says outro, doesn't it?
It says outro. You can tell he doesn't do this very often.
Listen, we'll call it a day now. We've been going nearly an hour and a half. You lovely people that have stuck around for the whole show. Wonderful. Hit like, please. Rob, what are we?
We're fucking massive. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. See you soon, guys. Take care.